First of all, the democratic self-administration is a very unique model for the whole Middle East, as it involves components of the Syrian society, especially that we are speaking about Syria. The democratic self-administration means that there is an acceptance of the people who live there. So we do have now in this democratic self-administration 3 cantons, like Afrin, Koban and Jazeera. The Afrin and the Kobani canton, this is only Kurdish population, and they are in the Aleppo governorate. And the Jazeera canton, which is the Al-Hasaka governorate, the Jazeera region, exists from the Syriac people, the Arab people, and the Kurdish people. And the Syriac people are maybe not well known. This is also a main issue we do have in the whole Middle East, that we are only known as the Christians from Iraq, the Christians from Syria, the Christians from Turkey, but we are the indigenous people of this region. It's always the problem that the international community does not recognize this as an identity. So the unique thing we have now in this democratic self-administration is that we are accepting and acknowledging these identities. Even if we are now the indigenous, but we became a minority. Even in Jazeera canton, that there is most population Kurdish and Arab, but there are also Syriac Christian people. And we do have now a social contract which is sharing everything together equally. This is maybe the first time that we were able to speak as Syriac people and that we have political representatives. And especially when I remember the Iraq crisis, that always our religious leaders, they were representing what is going on in Iraq. And this was, in our point of view, as I'm working as head of foreign affairs for the European Syriac Union, this was always a challenge, that nobody was really speaking to you as a political representative. So now we have something which is very unique, and the whole model is unique. And the most important thing is that we have something which is not only by saying, and this is for me very important, that we do not have only a saying, that we have something practical on the ground, but that we also have a social contract as a written paper. So we have 3 years of crisis. You have so many efforts put by the Western countries and also by neighboring countries to support the Syrian opposition and others. So many seminars and workshops and conferences. So many things have been said, but there was never an authentic representation of the Syrian people. Syria is a mosaic of Syriac people, of Kurdish people, of Arab people, of Druze minority, of Yazidi and Armenian and Turkmen. So you will never find a paper where you will see, okay, after the day after Assad, after the transitional progress, that you will be like accepted like people, that you will have the equal rights, that the president can be a Syriac, or that you will never see this kind of written papers. But what we have now, that is everything is written down.
First of all, I would like to say that the beginning of this revolution, Syrian, which is called the Arab Spring, actually I call it the People Spring. It's not only Arabs, because so many peoples are living there. Not Kurds, Arabs, Syriacs, and others also. So in the beginning of this revolution in Syria, the opposition started to not recognize the Kurdish people. I'm saying at the beginning, as a Kurds, they didn't recognize them. Okay, they have the same mentality of the regime of Al-Assad. Only they took the opposition side. they became an opposition. So in this mentality, we ask them so many times to work together, but when they don't recognize you as a nation, as a people there, they don't recognize your rights, political rights, cultural rights, educational rights, they don't recognize it. They recognize you as a Syria. Okay, you are a Syrian citizen, that's all. And this is what happened before also. Always we are saying, okay, we are a Syrian. We are proud we are Syrian people. But it is also important to know that I'm a Kurds. I am a Syrian related to the Kurds nation, which have different culture, different education, different languages also, but they don't recognize all these things. They want only, their strategy is only to remove al-Assad and be in his place. They don't have any democratic changing for the regime, for the strategy, how to change, how to alternative system for al-Assad. What is it? They did not do it. There is nothing clear for it. So for that we do not want to be with the side of such opposition, which is always this opposition. It is not united opposition. Inside the coalition they are not united and they have so many problems with each other. Now, even with the regime of al-Assad also, who are killing the people, and we have the Kurds, we are suffering so much, so many years, 40 years from the regime, you know. So both are not our options, to be with the side of such opposition which is not recognizing you, and with the regime we are suffering from it. So we choose as a Kurds the third line, which represents the democratic line, that need to build a new system in our region, which is a democratic system. Not alone with Kurds alone, no, with all the components of the region. With Arabs, with Kurds, with Syriacs, with Assyrians, anybody who wants the democratic system as an alternative for the regime of al-Assad. This is what we see. The regime of al-Assad, it is, an authority dominating everything, a one nation, one language, one education, one culture, only it must be the regime like that. But what we say that we have so many different mosaics, and my colleagues say, we have Syriacs, we have Assyrians, we have Armenians, we have Kurds, we have Arabs. Each one, they have their own rights. So they don't want to have the same system, they want to have the system of the same system of the regime. They wanted to do it the same. This is which we refuse it. The other opposition, they don't want the democratic system. They want the dominating system, the authority system. This is what the difference is between our. We don't want to fight anybody's. We are protecting the system. Policy is protecting the area, protecting our system, protecting the people in the area. And this is what we did from the beginning also. For that, we have the people protection units, which is the military forces. And for that, we have the people protection women, which are military only for women forces. We have, because we believe in democracy, that means the rights of everybody and the rights of the women in the beginning. But the other, they don't have any, respect for the women. And we see the coalition, how many women are there, and how many women are really, practicing their own rights as a political side. They don't have. Another point, inside the Kurds, you mean the differences between the Kurds themselves. We have the Kurdish National Council, and we have the People Council of Western Kurdistan, which I represent the co-president of this council. Both of these councils, they sit together, they have an agreement together to work together in Syria. But what happened, these national councils, there are some parties, political parties in this council, which is related to the other side, what is the coalition side. But most of them, of this National Kurdish Council, most of the political parties now, they are sharing us in our administration, the new system. Now we have so many parties from this. They are sharing us, sharing together we are doing in this administration, self-democratic administration. So not only all the other National Kurdish Council, only few parties, political parties, now they are sharing the coalition there, and which they don't do anything. Coalition, the people there, the figures in the coalition, they are not related to what is happening on the ground inside Syria. All of them, they come from Europe, outside Syria, abroad. They don't know what is going on in Syria. What they don't know what is the Syrian people suffering. How do they suffering? They don't know about them. In the administration, self-administration area, in the three cantons, Canton of Afrin, Canton of Kobani, and Al Jazeera. If I talk about the security situation there, what is happening there, now since 1 month and a half, there is an attack against the Kobani region with ISIS. ISIS is crossing the Syrian border, Iraqi border, controlling the Mosul, which is the second biggest city in Iraq, and getting there all the weapons, heavy weapons, moving these weapons again back to the Syria and attacking the Kurds in Kobani region with these weapons. 1 month and a half now, and they are very severe attack against the people there. But the people are there really defending their area and protecting their people there. Everybody now sharing in these forces to protect their houses, to protect their villages, their area there. They don't want to allow such people to enter to their place where they have very brutal acts. You know, we are in the 21st century till now. We are seeing some people eating the fleshes of the human being. And this is a very dangerous point. They are not local. Most of them, they are from different countries. From Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Tunisia, from Saudi Arabia, from Yemen, from Europe also. And this is which we say so many times, we repeat it many times, that the people who came from Europe, European nationalities they have, and they are fighting with ISIS in Syria. So we have to ask, why are they going there with ISIS? Why do they leave Europe and going to fight with ISIS to be killed there in Syria? Why? And these people, when they go to Syria, they will have more experiences there in cutting the heads and killing and explosion and all these things. They will come back to Europe having the same experiences with them. This will be dangerous for Europe also. And we have repeated many times, they must stop such groups like ISIS, which is, they want to make an Islamic state, build an Islamic state in all over the places there. Even their aim is to have an Islam, spread Islam in Europe also. This is which is dangerous point. They are not representing the real Muslims, the real Islam. It's not like that. What we want to say, that these people, they are not local people, not very few from Syria. So that means somebody is supporting them. They are supporting them with weapons, with money. The oil money is going to them very easily. So we have to stop these groups, these people fighting in Syria, fighting the Kurds people, fighting against the Kurds in Kobani. And now they are fighting against the Al Jazeera region, That means Kurds, Arabs, Syriacs. So what's the aim of these people? The aim of them means, I can say in the first stage, it is the self-democratic system which is built now. They don't like it. They don't like the democracy to be there. If you say democratic system, that means you can have your rights, the Syriacs have their rights, the Kurds and the Arabs, and the women, which they are against the women rights. They don't want to have democracy. That means the women, they will have their role in this society. Now, in our system now, in the self-democratic administration, we have the women that took her place in the politics, in the social, in the economic, and everywhere. The head of the commission of the financial, she is a woman. And the prime minister, I can say, in Afrin, in Afrin canton, she is a woman. They don't want that the woman take her place and a correct place in the society. They are against. So who are fighting the administration? That means, first of all, they are against the system, against the system which are building the self-democratic administration. They are against it. Secondly, against the diversity, against the people who are living there, the Kurds, the Arabs and Syriacs. So it is our responsibility all, Kurds, Arabs, Syriacs, to defend themselves, to protect their area, and to fight with this ISIS, not to allow them to enter to our regions. What is happening now in Al Jazeera cantons, you know, we have a Rabia border, crossing border gate. They are now fighting there. The people there, YPG, the People Protection Units, they are fighting with them. They wanted to cross from there and enter to Al Jazeera canton, which they prevented them.
You have the Human Rights Declaration, and if we are really interested in protecting human rights, we have now an issue, which is a crime against humanity. It doesn't have to do something with Christianity, with Kurdish people, with Syriac people. What is going on now is a crime against humanity. I mean, if you see these pictures, ISIS marking the houses of Christians with Arabic letter N, Nasrani Christian. You think about the Second World War, how they did it with the Jews. And we are in the 21st century, and how this can happen again. I mean, in front of the eyes of the international community. I mean, in my eyes, the United Nations, they know very well what they could do. They did it for Bosnia, they did it for Macedonia, for Albania, for South Sudan. They did it.
I mean the US or
United Nations?
Yes.
They could intervene, they could do something, but there is a silence.
So what do you think is the reason behind the silence?
This is a good question.
Yes.
This is a very good question. As I said, there are so many chapters written when it starts, but when I read the comment of Ban Ki-moon, for example, that he is even not able to say that there is happening a crime against humanity, that he is saying that this could be made, this could be something like that. They are even afraid to put their fingers on this issue, and I think all of us, we know that there is a political interest, and what we have now is a chaos, and after each chaos something new will be created, and it's a question about if they want us or not, if we are in their plans or not, I don't know, but it's not, this is why I said it's not about me as a Syriac or about the Kurdish people. It's not about children dying, starving in the 21st century, starving because of no food, no drink. And even why can be borders open for ISIS, but why they are not open for humanitarian aid? These are all questions. We are also asking ourselves these questions. Yes, so what we need is maybe that the Christian people in Europe, as we are Christians and we have our values, that we really should stand up and protest and don't accept this at all, because this is what I would expect. I mean, what we already started the last weeks in many different countries. Our youth, they organized protests, and all of the organizations which, I mean, are really caring about this issue. I mean, it's a Christian issue, but many of our organizations have been joined by even Kurdish people or also European people or Arab people. And I remember in Cologne we had a protest. One Iranian woman came. She said, "You are not alone." So this is what we need. I think if we wait for any policies, I don't know how long we will be able to tell the people to they are already having too much suffered. So what we need is really a Christian mobilization worldwide. I mean, maybe this can put some pressure to act, because what we need now is act, and there is no act.
So you mean acting against ISIS or acting against the Assad regime or acting against...
I think if there is an act for the human rights in these regions, this will give a signal that there is no open field to come in and do what you want to do. I mean, if I am ISIS now, I would think, I do what I would do, and nobody's saying anything. Nobody's fighting against them. Nobody is stopping them. Nothing is happening. The opposite. So this is why I say it's not about ISIS. It's not about Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan or wherever. It's about now a question of a human conscience. And I think maybe the time has come that the people are should really. I mean, I hope that your interview here will help to spread this in the social media, because this is what we really are thinking together, to make a call to the whole Christian world, and to not all the Christian world, all those who are thinking about this human rights issue, that we really should do something. We should not accept this kind of policy anymore.
Thank you. I think.
Yes, something.
Just
Okay,
I want to add
yeah.
just one point here. I want to add what is happening in Iraq now. It's related to what's happening in Syria. They are not disconnected. Now, since 3 days, ISIS, they are attacking the Yazidis people in Sanjar, which is in the border line of Syria, the Jazeera cantons, just on the border line. They are attacking there the people, Yazidis people, killing in one day 500 people there. They have been killed, but everybody is keeping silent. And now, who are protecting them? The YPG. They are protecting the people there, and now there is a fighting in this Sanjar, in Iraq. It is in Iraq, but at the border of the Al Jazeera cantons. So that means this is their dangers. It's threatening everybody. It is spreading. It is like a cancer. When cancer is in one point, then if you did not cut it, that will spread everywhere. And this is what is happening. It's spreading in one point, started, and then spreading in all over Syria now, and going to Iraq, and who knows where it goes and spread. This is one point there. Another one, I want to say about the humanitarian aid, humanitarian organizations who are saying we are humanitarian for humanitarian relief for the human being without differentiating anything. They have to know and recognize that the political side, it is not to do nothing with the human side. Whatever the political side is there, humanitarian, they must go without looking at what is there, who are there. So now, and they don't till now, so many humanitarian aid crossing to Syria through the border, through Afrin, I can say, next to Afrin, which is Azaz, their border of very 15 kilometers away from Afrin cantons, and crossing there, going to the other places in Syria. Nothing goes to the Afrin cantons. Why? And another thing, which is now, I'm asking the United Nations. They are going to open, they decided to open 4 gates crossing border for humanitarian aid. One of them in Yarubia. Now in Yarubia there is fighting with ISIS and how can they cross there? So at least we asked them so many times to open border, crossing border with the site where the Kurds or the villages is there. For instance, Delbesiye in Al Jazeera cantons. So it will be safe to cross there the humanitarian aid to the people there and to also to the Syrian, the other Syrian cities there. Instead of Yarubia, which is now, you know what is happening in Yarubia now, since 3 days they are fighting, till now. I think it's now it's time to recognize everything, because it's the system which has been built there. It is an alternative system of the regime, an alternative system of the opposition, which they don't have any system there in Syria. What is the alternative of the regime? It is not an issue to remove Al-Assad and to be in his place, or in the same regime and with the same system. It is an issue to change the regime, to change the system, the policy of the regime. And this is which we are doing now in our administration. But the other, they are not. This is the questions here. So the international community, I'm asking, I'm calling everybody now, the international community, to come and see what is happening on the ground. ISIS is spreading everywhere, threatening everyone. They must stop them. This is one. And I'm calling the humanitarian organization also to come and see what is happening. So many refugees now in our cantons. 1 million refugees internal from the other cities, from Homs, from Damascus, from Aleppo, to all 3 cantons. And now we have another refugees coming from Mosul and coming from Sinjar, from Iraq, to our region, to Al Jazeera cantons. Nobody recognized this. So I'm asking and calling all the humanitarian organizations to come and see what is happening. We have camps for refugees. Nobody support. Any international, organization as a humanitarian organization, come and see. They need support. They need to be supported. The people who are children are dying there, but nobody listens. So the silence of the international community, I don't know. I have to ask them this: why are they silent? So if you are silent, that means you are agreed to what is happening there. Otherwise, you have to act. And this is what we are asking. Thank you.